Hey, good morning to you. It's a Monday here at iFiber One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey, 745, and we talk with Mason County Sheriff Casey Salisbury weekly at this time. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What's going on today here, sir?
Well, a number of things. I first, before we get started, I want to throw a thank you out to some emergency medical people. One of them I throw a little favor to because he was my student many years ago in school. But Thursday had a response to a person that needed medical attention, and Todd Ward, and I don't know all the people on Todd's crew, but Todd Ward's crew showed up to assist a person. And you know, it's interesting when you know somebody like that from the time they're a student or a kid to now, the relief that you have when he walks on scene. And I have another student named Eric Beal that's also a firefighter here in town. You know, and I've been on calls and watched those guys come out and knowing them from when they were in the 5th and the 6th grade to watch them handle things now, and the absolute confidence you have, and you know, they show up on scene, you know, it's taken care of. And so Todd and your crew for that response on Thursday, what a compassionate, wonderful group of people, a squared away job. And then yesterday, I say the Mason County lost a tremendous individual, at least the Sheriff's Office did, a guy by the name of John Strasburg. He was originally chosen by Sheriff Bob Holter for the Sheriff's Advisory Board nearly 32 years ago. And John remained on that Sheriff's Advisory Board up till Thursday. And he passed away on Sunday after 32 years of being an advisor to the sheriff, to Sheriff Holter, Sheriff Shepard, Sheriff Weibark, and myself. So Steve and I'm at 11 years, Steve was at 12, and each of the other two sheriffs had a term in there. And to have that kind of dedication, I hear oftentimes people will say, well, I'm a law enforcement supporter, and usually it's followed up by something they're unhappy with. But John spent 32 years, every single month, meeting with the sitting sheriff over the years with the advisory board. But he was one of the original members, and John passed away Sunday. So,
did he have any pet causes that he was
yes, he did.
Uniquely involved?
And you said it perfect, pet causes. John trained dogs most of his life. And John was one of, I thank you for saying that, and John was one of our first, when we didn't have canine dogs. John and a guy named Bob Clark, I went out and said, I want to get dogs, didn't have any dogs, and was raising money. And John Strasburg and Bob Clark were our first two donations to our canine fund. And John supported that all the way through. He did showed dogs for many years. And John's cause was our canines, and donated quite often and spent a lot of time supporting our canine program. And that's how we have it today as from those guys. So I just want to thank John for everything that he did for us in the Mason County Sheriff's Office. 32 years. It's a long time to be I guess what you'd say, a volunteer for 32 years. So thank him for that. Jeff, there were two other things I wanted to talk about. Again, we talked about traffic issues. I got a complaint yesterday again, out in the Lynch Road area, the same Volvo vehicle passing cars in the oncoming lane. And when you start hearing about it often, it isn't just one person, you know you got an issue. Those kind of things passing in double-lined areas and things, it's just uncalled for. And we're still working with that. I've been dealing with a white truck in the area of Lake Limerick. We have working with the State Patrol right now, and the Sheriff's Office are doing some emphasis in that area. The emphasis on the North Shore seemed to help. Thank those people up there for slowing down.
Oh, good.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up, because it calls this weekend and last week again, it's something that's really concerning. These scam calls that come out, they call you up and tell you that your grandchild is in jail in California and they want, you know, $1,000 or something sent to some address, or they call you up and tell you, and this is one that got us a few years ago, and it's tough to see people get taken like this. Publishers Clearinghouse, and it was because the Ed McMahon envelope came in the mail, and they sent thousands through this thing. The problem is Ed McMahon has not been around for a long time, but people in that generation, in my belief, and people in that generation were trusting, and they remember those kind of things. And we have people sending cash through the mail to these things, and then somebody in their family finds out about it and reports this to us. And in most of those instances, those calls are coming from overseas. They're coming from another state. They're coming from a place that we can't trace them to, sending money to post office boxes in another state. We go to research that. The post office box is shut down. It's done with. A number of calls this weekend at my house from people that have been getting calls and asking, if they should send that money. And please be cautious about doing that. I know that I think you and I are from a little bit different generation now, where you can't trust anybody. Right. But there are people out there still that want to have that trust and belief and faith in people are going to do the right thing. And we've had them even call and say giving money to some police charitable organizations or something, and we don't go out and do that kind of thing. We go out and talk about Special Olympics, but it'll be from one of us personally, or it'll be right there. We don't do callings to people's houses.
And they can spoof caller ID and things to make it look like it's coming from someone local. Or
absolutely. They do it all the time. And these things are just terrible what's happening. So just seeing a major upswing in that in the last week, it seems like... Because
it's fall, people are getting more in the holiday spirit perhaps already?
November and December, it seems like we get hit from now through then, and it kind of fades off after. Please be mindful of that. And if you know somebody's doing that, please help caution them on that and make darn sure that what they're giving to. Most organizations don't call like that.
Right. All right. Very good advice from the sheriff here, Sheriff Casey Salisbury, on today. And thank you. Let's talk back in a week.
Thank you.